Okay, happy Friday morning, and here we are. We're doing the thing. It's time. So, original 6106, 7107, original loom, original case, all that other kind of stuff. Case is in, the bracelet's incomplete, but we have this Uncle Seiko bracelet for you, and so let's get going. Lovely, lovely original loom. Really nice. A little bit of patina right here, but that's it. The cannon pinion and or the center wheel are really worn. There's almost no resistance at all, so that'll get taken care of when we go through it. Also work on the hazing on this hand surface. Yeah, okay, let's pull it apart. Here's one of those neat things I like to see. So this is a SUA 6106. The case back was made by Diney. I also see one servicing mark. You can just barely see it in this video. As usual, it doesn't mean anything to me. I'll look at it closely, but it won't mean anything to me. But anyway, see, whenever Sue needed some help, Diney was there. Here's another one of those transition year-over-year things. So OD, so that's October, but it's 1970, it's December 1970. Here's the original dial. And we see, there it is, made the same month. That's always nice to see. Cool. I've only touched the movement, and it's working. It's not wound up at all, and it's running a little bit. See, it's bright. See, you get the white loom on that dial, and that tells us a lot about moisture. Usually, sometimes it fools us, but nice and bright plates. Works for me. Hoo-wee! Look at that upper mainspring arbor bushing. Holy crap! Look at that screw move. Yeah, top and bottom destroyed. Okay. Well, movement's pretty shiny, I'd have to say. I mean, there's some hazing on here, but like even the inside of the winding bridge was nice. Come here. It's pretty gluey though for shinies. Just like you look at the bushings here, and they look pretty nice, but the movement's pretty sticky. You can see it's starting to give up now. Hey, look at that though. No lubricant inside there. Oh, there's that stripe of brassing right there from the mainspring arbor. Yeah. Okay, well, let's see what mysteries are in store for us here. Get up. Yeah, it's pretty well ovaled out, that bushing is. The rest of it looks pretty clean though. Looks pretty nice. Doesn't look bad. Fourth wheel and pinion. Boop. Third wheel. I'll inspect those pretty closely here in just a second. Escape wheel. Yeah. Hacking lever. Come on, stop fighting me. Well, let's get that center wheel center wheel bridge out of there. Come on. It's interesting trying to do this through my phone. Imagine this must be what remote surgery is kind of like. Okay. That never got adjusted. When you need to adjust the center wheel cock up and down, you put a little couple dimples in here and angle it up, change the pitch of it. Yay. Look at that, eating into the brass. Look at that, wow. Well, I think let's open the mainspring, and then I'm gonna have to start getting technical, so there's gonna be a whole bunch of stuff you're not gonna see, but that's okay. Hey, barrel's nice and tight. You see there's the S2 lubricant in there. That's what that black stuff is. That doesn't look bad. I've certainly seen worse. At least it's not filled with oil. Ugh, that's always the worst. Okay, well, obviously you can see that we have an issue, and we need to deal with that, and I'm going to deal with that right now. Here we are, fresh out of the cleaner cycles. So fresh and so clean. We see you've got your nice new Mainspring Arbor jewel here, and all the other jewels are good and clean. There's no chips or anything else like that, and your hairspring looks good, nice and coiled properly, and good spacing the way it's supposed to be, and this should be good. I had to replace I just replaced the entire bushing in the upper train bridge, in the only train bridge there is, in the train bridge. So that is a brand new, genuine Seiko bridge. You can see the stripe of brassing wear from where when the ratchet tipping over. There's a pretty gnarly gnarlification there. Okay, I say let's move forward. Okay, well, we are at that glorious moment where we're going to drop the balance on and see. I had one interesting challenge when I took this watch apart. The dial ring was completely missing, which is really, really odd, actually. This metal ring right here. It just wasn't there. It's between this and the movement ring, that's the casing. That's what holds the movement inside the case, and it was just gone. If it was some of these came with this plastic ring, and sometimes this plastic ring will just disintegrate. But then I was like, no, wait a second, these have the metal ones. I was like, why would that be gone? It's so strange. And then I remembered that there's something really weird that not a lot of people know about. Now, we know this watch had service once before. This ring sits right around this middle right here. It sits nice and down just like that. And so you see it like this. Now, the thing is, there was an early and a late. There was an early dial ring and a late dial ring. And well, I don't even want to say, there was a super early and then slightly less early. In the late 60s into about 1970. But the part numbers are the same. If you have a slightly later indicator ring with an earlier type, it won't fit. It won't work. When you clamp it all together and put it into the case, this ring won't rotate at all. It'll just clamp into place. And the thing is, the part numbers are all the same. There's no way that anybody would know unless they happen to do a lot of these things and happen to have the two different kinds of rings, the early and the lates, in order to get them to work. And so I had to actually go back and forth and go through all my supplies to find not only the correct early 3-slot dial ring, but the one that would work with this rotating ring. That's all I can think. I can't think of any other reason why the dial ring would just be missing, just not there at all. It's really quite odd. So let's put this together, shall we? Come on. Again, I'm trying to do this from long distance, which I don't normally like to do. I guess you should be able to just drop it in. Come on, stop fighting me. I'm gonna have to pull this away. Hang on, so I can really look at it. Anything else is irresponsible. Hang on, Come on. There we go. There she goes. We're running in. I need to get a screw for that because the other screw went kapoink, and it's somewhere in the carpet, and I'm not going to date up. But I have new ones, and that's just fine for me. What's wrong with a new screw anyway? Come on, would you come here? I'm trying to do remote surgery. I did not have to replace your cannon pinion or your center wheel. I just did a repair, and it was fine. I did replace the bushing in the train bridge, as I said, and it has, of course, the jewel in the main plate. So there it is, running along. Now, this is a 6106, so it has, of course, a hacking lever. There it is. Running strong. Okay. Well, it is quitting time. It is Friday afternoon. I have to go upstairs and make pizza. And so I am going to let this thing run in. It's going to run through the weekend. I'll just keep powering it up and just let it roll. And then we'll pick it up again on Monday and get things going. But so far, so good. So far, so good. Can't complain. Yeah, that looks nice. See if I can get a reading on it right quick. Probably have to adjust it. Let's reset our thing to 54.5. Let's see what we get. Shall we? Okay, happy Monday morning. I haven't touched this since Saturday, late. That's not bad for sitting on its own for as long as it has been. That's great. Right on. Okay. Let's get on it. Okay, going back together. The numbers are good, up and down, nice and clean and straight. It will be a very good and accurate movement. Looking at cosmetics now, I did my usual tricks to this. You've got some hazing on the metal, both the hour and the minute hand. And oftentimes I can reduce this a little bit. I have some tricks, but those tricks didn't do anything. They didn't touch it or move it at all. This is an etching on the plated surface. It won't move at all. But so I considered looking around to see if I had another set of hands. I don't. But there are a couple reasons I would suggest keeping this handset. First, they're original to the watch. But two, most importantly, this is original loom. The original loom is in great condition, and obviously it matches the rest of the dial. So we really should keep it. Really, really, really should keep it. So it's rolling along, and I'm gonna continue to assemble. So working on assembling the automatic winding. It's interesting to see. You remember how badly worn, how much shifting we were getting in the mainspring arbor, top and bottom. Like the whole thing was whipping back and forth. It was crazy. And we can actually see that here. If you look at this, right, that hole is, darn it. That hole is where this screw sits, okay? It goes just like that, all right? So if you look at the underneath of that big hole, look at the crazy, it was even wearing the underneath of the that winding bridge. That's just not something you see very often. That's some pretty wacky stuff. The rest of the bridge looks fine though. Ah, it's crazy. How much trouble could Seiko have avoided if they just jeweled those? But you know, whatever, save a couple pennies per movement. And there that is all assembled. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? So nice and clean. Everything running and happy again. Such great stuff. Bringing these old machines back to life. It's so cool because these watches, like this one is an original watch, and somebody bought it brand new in the early 1970s and wore it for a while, and then it got put in a drawer or something. And you know, you have all those intervening years, all those decades in between when a watch like this wasn't fashionable. And you know, those are the danger years. It wasn't, you know, the values weren't there. The people were trying to preserve them. They weren't collectible. So there's that danger time between when a thing is new and before a thing becomes collectible. And that you see that a lot. I saw it a lot with Volkswagens. With Beetles back in the day, you could get a 50s or a 60s Volkswagen for nothing. I got them for free. And they're worth so much money now. I remember seeing in the window of a pawn shop in the 1980s, I saw a 60s Fender Jaguar guitar, which was much beloved by like Sonic Youth and Nirvana and stuff like that. But at that time, nobody thought about them, and it was a few $100s. They're worth like 5 figures now, I think. Anyway, there it is. It escaped the danger time, and now it's back to life. That's great. Okay, let's keep moving. Anyway, so back to this subject about the rotating ring. It's the only thing I can think of for why that dial ring would have been missing. You can see the dial ring right here underneath the dial. It's the only thing I can imagine that for some reason the ring had to be replaced, and they got a one that didn't work with the ring that was here, and it would just bind up. Because I have seen that before, and it's been a real mystery. It was a head scratcher until I figured that out, and I only figured that out because I had a number of different parts early and late. It's the only way I was ever able to figure out why that was happening. This watch uses the same system as the 6139's indicator rings, which got that little warpy washer in there. You have this, which is basically the seal rest washer. I should probably look up what the actual name is because I don't know. But there we go. So far, so good. So let's get a crystal seal in there, and a new crystal, and we'll bear it down and we'll see if it works. And if it doesn't, then I'll pull this thing apart and I'll swap out the dial ring until we find the right one, if this one is wrong. But we'll see. I think it's fine, because in the past when I've run into the dial ring wouldn't sit down over that ring, wouldn't sit down over the dial ring at all. The indicator ring would just sort of keep popping up. And I'm not seeing that here, so I think we got it, but we'll find out. Okay, so we got the seal and the new crystal in. I've not put the bezel on, so now is the time to test. Will the ring turn? It will. I thought it was right. Like I said, in the past where it wouldn't work, that indicator ring wouldn't even seat over that thing. So that's now exactly the way it ought to be. Good, let's put that bezel on. And there we go. I had to go back in and do replace one more thing. I was having intermittent failure every now and then with the date correction. So I went in and I replaced the date correction finger, and also for fun, also the date dial guard. So I was in there, so might as well do it, make sure those things were fresh. And I did, and there they are. Isn't it wonderful, the power of cleaning? Yep. Not much else to say. It's back to life. I'm ready to go. Okay, thank you so much.